Mike Johnson's speakership up in the air as the new year looms, and the battle could lead to a delay in certifying Donald Trump's election win. As of now, Johnson can only afford to lose one GOP vote when the new Congress starts next Friday. The head of the Freedom Caucus already voicing his doubt.
Before the last couple of weeks, I was, in his corner, but now I'm, we should consider what's the best path forward. We do need to consider whether, if we're going to advance Mr. Trump's agenda, whether the current leadership is what we need.
GOP Congresswoman Claudia Tenney joins us now. Congresswoman, thanks for being here. You heard your colleague, Representative Andy Harris, there saying he was always in Johnson's corner until the last few weeks. Is that a common refrain from your fellow Republicans there in Congress? In other words, are we playing with fire here as Republicans?
Well, look, Andy Harris is a great leader of the Freedom Caucus. He's a good friend and a good person, a solid conservative, of course. And everybody has the obligation and the right to make sure they represent their districts and talk about what they think is the appropriate leadership. But as I've voiced it before in the past, this is going to be a very slim majority, and we do not want to go through the speaker battle that we went through with Kevin McCarthy after he was ousted for over 3 weeks and several different candidates. And we ended up with Mike Johnson, who is a superlative speaker, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people don't understand that Speaker Johnson, probably the most conservative speaker to serve in the House, certainly in the modern era, and probably that we'll ever have in terms of a pure constitutional conservative, a man of deep faith, integrity, couldn't be a nicer guy, couldn't work harder. But look, if we carry on January 3rd and go on into past January 6th, we will lose the ability to certify President Trump on January 6th, which is critically important to advancing the America First agenda, which Mike Johnson is clearly going to do. And he's very close with President Trump. And I had an opportunity to speak with Mike Johnson last night, who, by the way, is one of my dearest friends from my freshman class. He's a wonderful guy in so many ways, wonderful family man. But his job as Speaker is to preside over the House and also to represent every single member, though it's a very slim majority of the Republican House. And that, I think, is very difficult. We have a very diverse array of opinions, from libertarians to conservatives to moderates, all trying to get us to come together. And this, as Newt Gingrich cited, is the most difficult speakership he's ever witnessed, even more difficult than his. So I think we're going to come together. It's a necessity in order to implement President Trump's agenda.
Does he regret, the speaker, that 1,500-page bill, or was that just part of the whole process that was necessary to ultimately get to where you all got?
I didn't ask him about that, but I will tell you that, people forget. It is, wonderful news. I wish President Trump could get sworn in on Election Day and become the president. But right now we have a majority leader in my own Senator Chuck Schumer, unfortunately. Hakeem Jeffries is the minority leader, and President Biden, though I think, the shadow government of old Obama staffers are running everything now in the White House. We didn't have the votes to get passed. And Mike was trying to bring something forward where we could get some consensus, all the moderates, everybody together. And this is why it's going to be so critically important. And by the way, with that bill, I love the economist Thomas Sowell. He decided, when dealing with legislation and governing, there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. And that's especially true right now, because we only control, by a very slim margin, the House of Representatives, not the Senate or the White House, as I alluded to. So I think Mike is going to have a real challenge. I think he's the right man for the job. We have wonderful members that serve with us, but I think he is the right person for the job. I think he did an amazing job getting us through this year and getting us to, though a very slim majority, outspent by everyone, raised an historic amount of money for the Republicans. But I really think that we've got to come together. And I think Mike is willing to do the work every single day to try to meet the needs of every single member in our conference.
And look, I know all of our calendars are all jumbled because of the holidays. We don't know which end is up. This vote is 1 week from today, Friday, January 3rd. So we will be paying attention over the course of the next 7 days. Meantime, you mentioned your senator. Your governor, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, just signed a new law creating a climate superfund by fining fossil fuel companies $75 billion for climate change and natural disasters, a move that could spread to other states. Here's the bullet points of what's in this thing. Holds big oil climate polluters financially responsible for environmental damages. Top big oil companies will be required to pay that combined total of $75 billion over 25 years. And we all know Representative, that this will be eventually passed on to the consumers. So my question for you, is this a goal to try to get everybody to leave New York, the people that are remaining after they didn't leave during COVID, or is it to try to get everybody out?
Well, certainly the Green New Deal of New York that was passed in 2019 under Governor Cuomo continues to get worse under Governor Hochul. Look, this would be catastrophic. Our energy policy in New York is already untenable, catastrophic. We saw over 450,000 New Yorkers leave last year alone, and that's approaching 2 million since Governor Cuomo came into office in 2011. The mass migration is because of the policies of the Democrats, mass spending, mass taxes, and now we're seeing, huge illegal immigrants, sanctuary cities, and now we're seeing an energy crisis. I live in upstate New York, by the way. We are, this is the largest agricultural district in the entire Northeast. We need the fossil fuels that we have. We have clean natural gas that we can't touch. This would be devastating for New York's economy, and it would collapse if this were to happen. I do think this is going to happen in the courts, and I do think it will probably get shut down, but it's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to be devastating in the meantime if this should be enacted finally and survive any kind of court challenge.
Now, she went after your car with congestion pricing, backtracked, and now is bringing that up again. Now she's going after your car with this. I mean, she clearly doesn't want us driving, but that shouldn't be her decision. It should be ours. Congresswoman Tenney, great to have you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.